Over the course of the last 101 episodes of The Flash that we've gotten so far, there's really only one thing on the show that makes absolutely no sense. And yes, I am saying that about the show that regularly features a guy in a red suit running around punching a flamethrower wielding bank robber and gorillas, and even teamed up with an alien from outer space whose entire species just happened to evolve to a point where they ended up looking like regular humans. But whatever, that's kid stuff compared to what I'm talking about. I'm of course referring to the fact that everybody on Team Flash apparently either all have crazy amounts of credit or just hacked reality or something, since they seem to have an infinite supply of the old moolah laying around. Seriously, how does anybody on the team afford a pencil, let alone everything they need to live? I mean, Joe, Cecile, and maybe Ralph, I can kinda understand them being able to take care of themselves since they all have, actual jobs outside of the whole superhero thing, but Cisco and Caitlin? They'd definitely be extremely fucked. I mean, they have to be getting whatever parts and pieces they need to make all the insanely sophisticated tech they throw together on a weekly basis somehow, and it's not like they have anything coming in to make up for what they're spending, since S.T.A.R Labs has been shut down since the whole particle accelerator thing, and we've never really seen them working anywhere else. Speaking of, Barry's probably one of the biggest spenders on the show, considering he bought that nice looking loft that I'm sure was crazy expensive, and somehow manages to keep the lights on at S.T.A.R Labs while also paying two kinda sorta employees, I guess? So what's going on here? Is this just a plot hole? Something that we should just ignore and move past since nobody on the show really seems to care? Well, yeah, honestly, I mean, it's not like it really impacts the plot at all, but in all seriousness, how Team Flash can afford to keep the lights on at S.T.A.R Labs has actually been explained in earlier seasons of the show. Remember back in the first episode of season 2? After Barry finally stopped being a huge and actually watched the video Thawne left him, he actually inherited everything Eobard had at that point in time, according to the future Speedster's lawyer, including that kick-ass house we got to see like once, and all of S.T.A.R Labs' assets.
As you know, Harrison Wells left the property to you as part of his living trust. The facility and the real estate are scheduled to go into receivership at the end of this week, unless you watch this.
Hell, we even got a reference to this as recently as just a few episodes ago this season. During Sherlock,
Sherlock, L-O-Q-U-E, Sherlock in French.
Whatever, that guy's introduction to the show, Barry mentions that Team Flash could afford his ridiculously high salary by selling off a few of the S.T.A.R Labs stock.
I think we can all agree that a villain of Cicada's caliber will require a substantial fee.
Yeah.
Shrek, that's a lot of money, even when I'm from.
I'm very expensive, but very worth it. What do you think?
I mean, we could sell off some of S.T.A.R Labs stock.
So, okay, Barry's able to pay for everything because Eobard left him controlling interest in a decently sized company. But come on, it's not like S.T.A.R Labs is making all that much money these days, right? I mean, it has been shut down for a good bit of time, and considering how Star City reacted to the particle accelerator explosion,
S.T.A.R Labs blew a hole in Central City when we turned the particle accelerator on. It's not surprising that Starling City canceled the lease on this facility.
It seems unlikely that anything S.T.A.R Labs related is still in use or is in high enough demand to be licensed out to anybody. Then again though, we know that's not true. Just because Star City wanted their S.T.A.R Labs facilities shut down doesn't mean every location would have gone down too, meaning Team Flash would still be making a pretty penny on the lease for every single one of them. Even if all that fell apart though, S.T.A.R Labs would still be churning out some kind of a profit thanks to licensing existing patents on everything we know Cisco and Caitlin sold for S.T.A.R Labs in the last few years. Remember how Cisco invented that metahuman inhibitor tech, and by the beginning of season 2 we saw the same technology in police stations, Argus, and prisons? It's pretty safe to say it was licensed to all those places, and S.T.A.R Labs is getting paid for the use of that tech. Plus, patents last for like 20 years, so it's not like the money train on anything Team Flash manages to sell is gonna leave the station anytime soon. You know what the crazy thing is though? Even if this whole Barry inherits S.T.A.R Labs thing was just the writers trying to find a way to keep Team Flash in the same location without audiences worrying about the price tag, turns out they didn't even need to worry about adding any other layers to it. They already had it covered. I mean, realistically, Barry's a millionaire at the very least, even without factoring in anything from S.T.A.R Labs. Why is that, you may ask? Well, first off, there's that workers' comp settlement Barry would have gotten for getting hit by lightning while on the job. I'm not entirely sure what all the doctors would have said about Barry's condition to the CCPD, considering how his heart seemed like it kept stopping and how Eobard convinced Joe to sign Barry over to S.T.A.R Labs for treatment, but we can still lowball this and just assume that Barry would have received temporary total disability benefits while he was taking that 9-month-long nap. Considering how earlier episodes showed that Central City is located in Missouri, then that means Barry, during the time of his lightning strike, could only have gotten paid a maximum of $861.04 per week he was out of work. Since Barry was out of it for 9 months, or about 39 weeks, then that means he'd be raking in a non-taxable $33,580.56. Not too bad, but he also probably could have milked the whole thing and gotten a bigger payout, given his workplace seems a tiny bit unsafe with the lack of proper storage for any of those chemicals and the giant fucking skylight right above his work area. We can also add his dad Henry's 15-year wrongful imprisonment settlement on top of that, which definitely would have raked in a few million, depending on how much he's awarded after taking the case to court. Yeah, I know all the money would have actually been awarded to Henry, and there's no reason he should have or would have given it to Barry after he got it, but considering how it doesn't really seem like he does anything with it once he's finally free, and considering the whole run-in with Zoom, it seems safe to say that Barry would have been left all that money through his dad's will. And all of that's ignoring other potential sources of profit or income, like whatever Barry would have made by selling Eobard's assets, like that kick-ass house for example. Now, whether or not all that stuff would mean that Barry would be a multi-millionaire or even a billionaire, I don't really know. I mean, like I said earlier, I'm sure some S.T.A.R. Labs locations were shut down and some assets were seized or disposed of after the particle accelerator explosion, and because it's not like we've ever gotten to see like a full breakdown of the lab's assets or hear how much they're selling their stock for, it's not really possible to calculate exactly how much money Barry's making. That having been said though, based on everything we've seen Team Flash buying and making, on top of the fact that Barry and Iris seem to be living comfortably despite their crazy long breaks from work, meaning neither one of them were pulling in all that many paychecks, it still seems like the S.T.A.R. Labs, Workman's Comp, and Dead Parents combo gave Barry enough money to fund everything Team Flash does, while also paying them enough to keep the lights on at their own places. Wait a minute, I just realized something. A group of people running around, getting into hijinks, occasionally blowing something up, with everything they do being funded by one guy in the group? Is Barry Allen the Frank Reynolds of Team Flash?
Charlie, I feel like a sack of in this thing. I feel like I'm a 4-year-old going to my sister's wedding. Can I offer you a nice egg in this trying time? Yeah, he's got an egg. You might.
Hello, Mr. Allen.
Oh, where'd you come from?
But anyways guys, that's my take on how exactly Team Flash can afford everything they need without going bankrupt or whatever on The Flash. If you guys agreed with anything I said in this video, or if you have your own thoughts you want to throw out there, then go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, I will see you all next time. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, then go ahead and click that like button, and if you're new, maybe consider clicking that subscribe button too. I've also got links to my Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and Patreon in the description. You should probably check those out too. And if you want to see more of my content, then you can click the link to my last video. It's right there in the middle of your screen. Alright, and I will see you all next time.